Oh man, did I need that? Did I need that? There are some games where I get on here and they win, and I'm like, they really needed that. And then this has been now, I want to say this is like the third or fourth time this season where I just like, as a fan, and I don't know if anybody else shares the sentiment, I felt like I needed that one just to keep the spirits up, just to keep the positivity flowing, and just like not to have to go into Portland feeling like, oh my God, is it all coming crumbling down after we reached seemingly the highest of highs, where we were talking ourselves into all sorts of things, and needed that. So the Knicks win 112-108 in a game that in LA against the Lakers, missing LeBron James, but we're missing Jalen Brunson. And I got news for you. One of those people has a chance of showing up on a few rogue MVP ballots, and one of them does not. I'll let you figure out which is which. So I don't want to hear anything that there was no LeBron for the Lakers. Obviously, he's still one of the 5 best players in basketball, but you play who's on the court against you, and the Lakers still had some pretty good players, including D'Angelo Russell turning into Steph Curry for most of this game. But I digress. It didn't matter how they did this one. Didn't matter how it looked. There were no, I just watched the Academy Awards with my wife. There was no the costume design, the production design, the film editing, all the stuff that makes, makeup, all the stuff that makes the movies look pretty. Yeah, well, this one, I don't know if this one was the prettiest win. It didn't need to be. They just needed to get it, and they just needed to escape, and they did. And it was a game that I think I'm like losing my mind, because I was like, my heart was in my throat for the entire fourth quarter. I don't know if anybody else felt that way. Again, I could never tell sometimes if I'm on an island with the emotions that I go through after these games. That was a game I did not feel like they were going to win at all. I didn't think they were going to win it in the first half. I didn't think they were going to win it in the third quarter. I didn't think they were going to win it in the fourth. Even when they were up by 10 midway through the fourth, then maybe a little bit, I was like, okay, they can get this one. And it would now officially be a very bad loss if they lost it. And then all the way down, even towards the very end, where the late game offense without Jalen Brunson turned into I don't know, something that should be illegal. Something, again, keeping with the Academy Awards theme, something that would be rated NC-17, and children would not be allowed in, even accompanied by a parent. But whatever. Again, they got it. This was a strange game because there are some really big performances and really important performances that I want to talk about, and the performances, I would argue certainly two of the 4, and maybe 3 of the 5 most impressive performances, although Quickly was pretty good too. Basically, what I'm dancing around is when I'm thinking back about this game, the first 2 guys I'm thinking about are Deuce McBride and Isaiah Hartenstein. And the reason I think about them first, Isaiah Hartenstein, all of 0 points in this game, and Deuce McBride 8 points, and boy, were all 8 of them, did they all seem big. I thought Deuce's energy in the first half especially changed the game, and I thought that energy carried right over on to the second half. I don't know when this is the last time he played 17 minutes a game that wasn't a blowout one way or the other, but I'm pretty sure it's been a while. And it felt like, you could argue, it's crazy because he went out, Quickly came in the fourth quarter, and Quickly, as I've said many times on here, he's been their most consistent two-way player all year. And there was a part of me when Quickly came in, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if we should be taking Deuce out right now. That's how impressive Deuce McBride was. Again, just making winning plays left and right. And Isaiah Hartenstein, and maybe my appreciation for Hartenstein after this game was more because I thought Mitch played. You could argue this was the worst Mitch game of the season. I quite frankly don't know what Mitch was doing out there for a lot of the time he was out there for 24 minutes. I don't know if it was that Anthony Davis was in his head a little bit because he, that's a guy he works out with. That's a guy he looks up to. Whatever it was, Mitch was like not there. And again, you want to talk about plus minus statistics that reflect the actual game. minus 15 for Mitch, plus 19 for Hartenstein. So yeah, big time game for Hartenstein, and they needed it desperately. Wanted to talk about those two first. Josh Hart, wonderful as always. Obi Toppin, I want to get to Obi because Obi deserves to have his own little segment. Thought his 9 points were big. I thought his minutes were big. I thought he could have played a little bit more. What else is new? And quickly as usual. And Grimes, also good minutes from Grimes. But there are two guys that did score 30 tonight. And they did it, one, very, very, very present and necessary in the first half, and that was Julius Randle. And boy, did they need his buckets in the first half. Even if his picking and choosing on the defensive end as to when to exert the requisite amount of effort was a bit annoying at times. Look, he made up for it on the other end, and his points were huge. 25 points in the first half, and again, ended with 33. Was it perfect all the way through? No. Where there's some, a couple of moments there that were some, oh wait, there's not great Julius. Yes. Coming off of, like, let's give credit where credit is due. He's coming off the worst game of his season. I looked earlier today. I think there was one game earlier this year where he shot 29% from the field. That was his worst shooting game of the season. He shot 20% yesterday. He was atrocious. And obviously the whole thing on the sidelines where he let it get to him, and it was a 3-point swing at the end of the third quarter. We don't need to talk about it again. He came back in a big way. He bounced back. And that's all you could ask from a player. Was it perfect? No. Did it need to be? No. And then there's RJ Barrett, a player who I sat in front of this microphone on Thursday and absolutely took behind a woodshed. And I did it not so much because of his performance against the Kings, because he was no worse than, and I said it that night for anybody who may have missed it. I said it. He was no worse than 2, 3, 4 other guys against the Kings. Nobody played very well. A few people played well against the Kings, but none of the big time guys. But I let it all out because I've been holding that one in, and it was a years long or a season's worth of really frustration coming out at a guy that I felt like everybody else had pulled their weight or had figured out ways to make themselves into positive winning contributors. And I did not feel that he had done much of that, if at all, for a while. And first half tonight, I said it on the halftime Zoom, and he was 4 of 10, and it was a deceiving 4 of 10 because I thought it was bad. And I said it. I said I didn't think he was good. I thought his defense was bad. He some questionable decisions with the shot making. And then what does he do? In the second half, comes out, and he's the best player on the floor on a court that contains all-star Julius Randle, all-star Anthony Davis, and a guy who's playing like an all-star, D'Angelo Russell. And how many times have we had games where I come on here and I say some version of, and that's why RJ Barrett keeps you coming back for more. I think if I haven't used this analogy before, I'll use it now. He is these games, half really, they're the birdie in a round of golf for a guy who's like a 22 handicap. They don't think about the double bogeys and the 3 chips to get on the putting green. They don't think about those things. They think of the birdie. And this was the birdie. And look, I would love for that analogy to switch to something more like a 7 handicap golfer who gets more birdies, right? As opposed to a higher one. We'll see. We need more consistency from RJ. But, and this is the most important thing, in no way, shape, or form do they win this game without him. And that should go without saying, because I don't think Julius had it in the second half, and they needed to score. Score. Tom Piccolo tweeted about it after the Clippers game. They've been the 28th or 29th ranked offense over the 3-game losing streak, and their effective field goal percentage was the worst in the league by far, by several miles. This game, the Knicks shot 29.7% from 3, which, again, for them over the last 3 games is like great. And they shot 47.7% overall. RJ did not finish with the best shooting numbers, 12 of 27 overall. He was 1 of 8 from 3, although, my God, the one he hit. The one. Oh man, I don't know if it was luck or what, but he does seem to save those big threes. It was obviously a massive one at the end of a shot clock, a blown play, the whole thing, and he made it. But look, he was not good, not great. He was exceptional from 2-point range in his drives to the rim, touch around the basket. Benji was tweeting about it earlier in the night about all the different maneuvers and different ways he was finishing. Again, these are the halves and games that keep you coming back for more with RJ. And it was winning basketball. It was winning basketball, especially because this is a team, again, that has been having trouble scoring, and has been having trouble in specifically without Jalen Brunson manufacturing offense. Because without Brunson, it puts extra pressure on everybody else to be perfect. And I think that is what has gotten into their 3-point shooting. I think guys are putting too much pressure on themselves. Randall has kind of fallen off a cliff from 3 since Brunson's out. I don't think that's a coincidence. Again, they only had 11 threes out of 37 attempts, which is like just not, it's obviously not going to get it done. So they needed that. They needed that. And credit to Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley only ended up with 15 points tonight, but it felt like every one of Emmanuel Quickley's buckets was huge too in the moments that they happen. Really, you could say that about a lot of guys. Like McBride's 2 threes felt really big. Toppin's points. I mean, getting out, energizing, getting out of the fast break. Credit to Josh Hart, who has seemed to activate Obi Toppin a little bit more, the version of Obi Toppin we knew and loved. That guy came out again for the second game in a row. It was nice to see him. Josh Hart's 2 threes, massive. They felt, I mean, especially the first score of the fourth quarter when it felt like the momentum was really turning. That Josh Hart 3, I thought was incredible in the moment. So big baskets all around. But again, they needed a guy. They needed a guy to put them on their back in the second half of this game, and RJ was that guy. And they don't win it without him. They just don't. So credit to RJ. This was his game as far as I'm concerned, for as much as I praised a whole bunch of other people. It's great to see, because anything interesting, anything remotely interesting that this team is going to do for the rest of this season at least, RJ's got to be a big part of it. And he was a big part of it tonight. So credit to him, credit to them. And I don't usually do this until later in the live stream. I'm going to do it real quick right now. Just taking a big picture, kind of zooming out. The goalposts moved up with the 9-game winning streak and how they were playing and all of those sorts of things. The goalposts, I think, with the Brunson injury now, I think it's fair that they've moved back a little bit. And right now, the Knicks are sitting in a virtual tie for 6th, although the Nets are percentage points ahead. Cleveland won again today against the Hornets. They are now 3 games up of both the Nets and the Knicks. I'm quite frankly not even thinking about 4th anymore. But to stay in a virtual tie with the Nets, and I do think that is important. I do think, even though the Nets, and I watched a decent amount of their game today against the Nuggets, they won in Denver. The Nets are playing really well. The Nets are not going to go away. But to just stay in that 5-6, somewhere in that 5-6, you want it to be the 5, I think, although, who knows the way things might break. But for them to stay up, and they're now 3.5 games up on the Heat. And I sent out a little thread to the Substack chat earlier this morning. Basically, like, if you're the Knicks and you could split those last 2 games against Miami, who lost yesterday to Orlando, if you could split those last 2 games against Miami and you do just enough down the stretch, you're going to make the playoffs. And I think at this point, with the Brunson uncertainty, with the injury and everything, some people may disagree with me. Some people may think I'm taking a little bit too easy on them. Just make the top 6. Get in the dance. Give yourself a chance in the first round to play somebody, and it's probably not going to be the Bucks, which means it's a team that they're going to go into the series saying like, hey, whoever they play, you could say we've beat them a few times this year. And I think that's important. So big win, big win. I don't want to concede Tuesday, but it takes a little bit of the pressure off on Tuesday. A little bit of the pressure off on Tuesday, although I still think that's a game they should obviously they should look to win the game. Portland's not very good. And Dame, I believe, has some kind of injury issue going on, I certainly wouldn't mind not seeing him. Okay, I think that's it from the monologue. Let's get to the Weiss and Rosenblum personal injury report. Don't forget, if you think you may have an injury, even if you're not sure, if you think you might have a case, something happened to you, you're not sure what's going on, you just want to talk to some experienced attorneys, not rookies, veterans, you're going to call Weiss and Rosenblum. The law offices of Weiss and Rosenblum have been doing this for a very long time. They're very, very good at it. 212-366-6100. Again, 212-366-6100, or visit weissandrosenblum.com for more information. They are the personal injury attorneys that are like tonight's Best Picture winner. They are everywhere, everything, all at once. They will take care of all of your personal injury needs. One more time, 212-366-6100. Prior results don't guarantee future outcomes, but again, you think you might have a case, call for a free consultation. Okay. Jalen Brunson, still out. I believe there was a Woj report on TV tonight, which said essentially don't expect to see Jalen Brunson on Tuesday. And frankly, I'm not surprised. They have 3 days off after the Blazers game. Sit him. And if he's ready to come back next weekend when they play start a 2-game homestand against the Nuggets and the Wolves, Godspeed. And honestly, there's a part of me that's like, even if he's not back for those games, it wouldn't be the end of the world to me. I just, the Miami game, the first Miami game is the next game after those two. That's the one that he should have circled. That's on Wednesday, the 22nd. So a week and a half away. That's like, to me, worst case scenario. Hopefully he's back by then, but I expect we'll see him in the weekend. Okay. That's your personal injury report presented by Weiss and Rosenblum. Moment of the game. I'm glad I wrote down several candidates before we got to the last few minutes, because the last few minutes were not particularly pretty. But again, they got the job done. Okay. This is going to be tough. So there was one I know is going to be a nominee is an Isaiah Hartenstein steal of Anthony Davis that led to an RJ to Obi fast break lob. It gave the Knicks 103 points, and they were up by 10 shortly thereafter that. That's definitely one of the nominees. The Hartenstein steal to the RJ to Obi lob. I think this is tough because if I do this one, I'm going to leave a big one out. No, I'm going to do this. So again, this team just struggles to score without Jalen Brunson late in games. So I got to do the basket that was their last basket of the game. It was the Josh Hart playing with his head up, smart, grabbed the rebound, passed way ahead to RJ, gave him 110 points. It was a cushion they needed at the time. RJ converted the basket, credit to him, but I want to give an extra credit to Josh Hart for seeing that pass needed to be made. He could not hesitate for a split second on that pass, and he made it immediately. And again, that's gave the Knicks 110 points. And now I got a tough decision because the other two, there was a possession that Deuce had where he had to jump out and defend a D'Angelo Russell corner three. And he not only did he defend it after a jump by, but he got back in the play and managed to close out the possession. And then that was followed by him hitting a three, which was then followed by him drawing an offensive foul. So it was actually like a 3-part play by Deuce that started with great defense on the corner. And then there's the RJ3 that put him up by 10 with 5 minutes left to make it 106-96. But the thing is, that wasn't a great play. That was just that was more fortuitous. It was a great shot. It was a big shot, whether it was a lucky shot or not. So I'm going to go with the Deuce trifecta. So our 3 nominees, the Deuce trifecta, the Hartenstein steal leading to the Obi lob, and then the Josh Hart pass ahead to RJ for the finish to get him to 110 points. Okay. Think that's it. I hope we got some people who are here and checking us out, and that everybody didn't turn into although I guess if you did tune into the Oscars and you don't know what happened in the game, what better place is there for you to be? So either way, welcome everybody, and let's get things going. Here we go. Busy starts us off. The bench did awesome tonight. I'm proud of Deuce and Obi for sure. Again, Deuce popped for me a little bit more, but Obi, you can't ask much more of Obi Toppin. And there's a reason why this team is still very high on Deuce, even though he's not in the rotation anymore. I think it really is a testament to McBride that Evan Fournier is over there sitting on the bench. And there's been some people, especially as they've been going through this shooting slump, who've been calling for some Fournier minutes, whether as a ninth man or I think most people are like expand the rotation to 10 guys and play Fournier, which is fair, by the way. Either one of those is fair. I think it's a testament to Deuce that he's the one getting these minutes and not Fournier. And that's not a shot at Fournier, but it's a testament. Again, it's exactly as I said. It's a testament to Deuce. So great job by him and by Obi. Thanks, Busy. Starting us off here on the right foot, as I knew you would. Robert Cross. It's your boy John. RJ's best quality is his resiliency. That's funny because I wrote something a few weeks ago basically saying this is kind of the same thing about not that Randall's best quality is his resiliency, but that his resiliency, his ability to bounce back is what kind of defined him as a Knick. So I guess you could say the same thing about RJ. And maybe, it's for as much as those two guys do not seemingly complement each other on the court, it is kind of funny that they both do have this, knock us down 7 times, we'll get up 8, Dwayne Wade mentality. But anyway, relentless to the rack. I'll remember all the slander in the community as he shall rise. Hashtag Eastern Conference Finals dark horse. Yeah, I mean, look, this is not aimed at you, Rob, because I know you and I know where you're coming from. But I would at some point kind of like to move away from the showing reasonable frustration with a player equates to slander that must you must pay hell for your slander when you badmouth the player when he's doing well. RJ hasn't played well this year, and I know, again, this is not targeted at you, Robert, because you've admitted to me and that RJ has not played well this year. The difference is you have more of a belief in this player than I have shown. And so credit to you for that. And look, at the end of the day, one of us is going to be proven right. RJ is going to become the player that you have always thought he's going to be, or he's going to become some slightly lesser version of that, which is, I think, where I kind of more skew to. But again, nights like this make anybody who question him look silly because, like, 30 points against a team that's been playing as well as the Lakers with Anthony Davis back there defending the rim, can't fake that. There's no empty calories in there. You want it to be a little bit more efficient. You want him to start knocking down some more of these threes. But great job by RJ. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate you, man. Robert with another one. First time, long time, John. I need this win. We all did. I am already agitated and I can't deal with more agita. I don't have the patience for this. Hashtag 53 wins. Are you, I can't believe I'm talking about burying the lead. So the Knicks at present time are 40-30. Yes, that's right. Okay. I was not on yesterday to properly commemorate that we do officially have to put 53 wins to bed, which is sad. But, Robert, I think you should be offended that the Motion Picture Association of America did not include hashtag 53 wins in the in memoriam segment on tonight's Oscars. I think that would have been fitting. And then John Travolta could have shed another tear for you. Thanks, Robert. Busy with another one. Last few minutes is ugly without Brunson. Yeah, it's gonna be. And it's like, and honestly, I'm not even sure it matters who's out there. And Busy, me and you have disagreed a lot. God knows we've disagreed a lot on Tom Thibodeau. This is one thing that we're, I think, absolutely in agreement on. Like, if you're the coach of a team that always seems to have these issues late in games, like, you got to own that. That said, you don't have your starting point guard. So, yeah, Like, as you say, it's without Brunson, so that matters. And I will say, and this may just be me, and others should certainly feel free to push back on this. Just watching games this year, man, it does seem that a lot of teams get into these situations late in games when they have a seemingly safe lead, and then it's just like things start to fall apart on them. Certainly not every team, and it's certainly not every night, but it does. I don't know. It feels like it happens more, or it has happened more this year than any other. At least that's how my just anecdotal feeling. Thanks, Busy. Busy with another one. Apparently, Busy and Robert Cross, the only two people not watching the Oscars tonight. The roller coaster that is number 30. Never before have I watched a player play so well one play and look terrible in the very next play for more times in a single game. So I'm just going to say it, and I say this as someone who has been obviously the biggest antagonist of Randall last season, and I'd like to think one of his bigger supporters and flag waivers this season. And if they had lost this game, I would have gone on here. I promise you I would have come on here and I would have defended him for, again, a shot-making display that they absolutely needed. All that being said, did not think this was a good Randall game. 33 points on 24 shots. Again, impeccable shot-making. I did not think he played well, really, in this game. He shot it well for a half. I did not think he played well at all. And this is going to be tricky because I got, as anybody who's a newsletter reader knows, I do, and I haven't cheated once this year. I'm not about to start cheating now with freaking 12 games left to go. I do stars of the weekend, not stars of the game, stars of the weekend. So I got to encompass the Clippers game as well, which was, again, his worst game of the year. One of the worst games any Knick has played this year. I don't know if Randall's going to start tomorrow. That's, and my inclination is to say it's probably not going to be close. I mean, geez, RJ will get a star, but I don't know if he's getting 3 stars either. I was really impressed with some of the bench performances this weekend. We'll see. I'll think about that some more. Thanks, Busy. Again. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? Oh, man, did we need this? I'm glad other people felt this way, too. Great win. Seeing Brunson in a boot scares me, but I'd rather he be healthy for the first round than rush back. Deuce balling like this has to help relieve the pressure. So I'm just going to read Fred Katz's tweet from a few minutes ago. Brunson wore the boot when he was courtside today as a protective measure, just in case it got kicked or stepped on, not wearing it away from the court. Now, that is what the Knicks are saying. Should we believe the Knicks? I will naively, perhaps, choose to believe the Knicks and believe that he does not need a walking boot. But, to each their own. Thanks, Juanon. Appreciate you, man. Hamdy M, what's going on, Hamdy? How are you? Gonna keep this simple, John. We got the win on a back-to-back. Oh yeah, that's right. I do a terrible job about some things. I probably do a terrible job at a lot of things. Thank you, everybody, for watching me do a terrible job at all these things. But one thing I always neglect to mention until somebody brings it up, I don't know why I don't think about it, is when they're on a back-to-back. And you know why I think that is like, here, I'll spin it into a positive. This team really doesn't ever like drag where you're like, oh, they're clearly on the second night of a back-to-back. And that's a credit to them and a credit to, the coaching staff for getting them prepared. Because it certainly didn't feel like they were on the second half of back-to-back. Some not great closeouts in the first half. The rebounding was a little shoddy out of the gate for sure. First 3, 4, 5 minutes. But then they cleaned it up right away, and I thought the energy was spectacular. I mean, they held I know the Lakers aren't world beaters on offense, but they held the Lakers to 108 points, which is a good job by them. Second straight game, I think they held an LA team to 108 points. Anyway, not going to stress about the details now. Must needed win. Yeah, you don't worry about the. And again, it's not like their formula all year has fallen apart. Just to go over the stats that I know I go back to a lot, but like the Knicks this year, all season long, have been winning how? They've been winning with offensive rebounding. Now, tonight, they actually only got 12 after getting 23 and 20 in back-to-back games. I don't know that any NBA team has more than 46 rebounds in consecutive or in back-to-back non-overtime games. So they came back down to earth a little bit there. Turnovers, they had 11, which is okay. It's passable. And then 21 free throws, which so actually, you know what? Those three categories, not as great as they've been doing, but the one area that I do think that they really stepped up with tonight, and luck certainly helped them out because the Lakers did miss a good deal of open threes. But I thought they defended better tonight. And I certainly think they defended better down the stretch of the game. Their defense down the stretch of the Kings game obviously was not ideal. Clippers game, I thought they made it a little bit too easy on LA, especially at the start of the fourth quarter. I thought in this game, again, save for those last couple of dicey minutes, I did think the defense got better as the game went on. Again, save for some iffy closeouts and some a couple of threes that you probably could have contested a little bit better. Thanks, Hamdy. Jesse D, what's going on, Jesse? Massive win, feels like a lot of us breathing a sigh of relief. I know I am. Hardenstein was outstanding. Completely agree. Great to see Randall bounce back offensively. Yeah, great comment. Good. And the Isaiah Hardenstein redemption tour continues. You know, this has been if we mark the turnaround for Hardenstein starting at the second Cleveland win, the one that ended the 4-game losing streak. That was January 24th. It's March 12th. So where was that? 7 weeks, give or take? Yeah, it's about 7 weeks. He's been playing exceptional basketball for 7 weeks. You know, good job by him to turn his season around. They don't win this game without him. Thanks, Jesse. D-Zilla, what's going on, D? Good to see you yesterday. Can we get a pro Star J Barrett take tonight? I mean, I think I gave you a few pro Star J Barrett takes. Let me give you one more. I think there are times where RJ has it going, gets it going offensively, even if he doesn't have it going the whole game offensively. Games where he gets it going offensively. And by the way, I thought his defense was also better as the game get on. But I think as the game went on, I think there are games where he gets it going offensively, and then much like Randall, we've seen over the years, it goes too far and he gets a little bit too tunnel vision. And he, even though he's doing very well, he starts taking shots where it's like, that's actually not a great shot. And like, that's actually not a great job. Again, I know he didn't shoot it well overall, but a lot of those were threes. I thought he did a good job of staying within himself. And I can't say, with maybe one exception that was in the third quarter, I can't say that there was a single shot that he took tonight that I had a real issue with. So I thought from a process standpoint, really big game by RJ Barrett. Thanks, D. Appreciate you, man. Hamdy M, spot day for Randall tomorrow. I mean, the dude's played in 70 basketball games. 70. It's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I hope he does go to a spa tomorrow. Please. I'll split the cost. Actually, no. The spa that dude's going to, I can't afford that shit. Thanks, Hamdy. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? All the credit in the world to Isaiah Hardenstein. Looked like a bust of a free agent signing midway through. No longer. Big first from Randall, and the start of the fourth for RJ. Yeah. Can't disagree with anything there. Hardenstein, I don't know if I'd say he's a value contract now, but like all in all, especially with some of the offense that he flashed against the Clippers, not as much tonight, but I think that was a good signing. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think it's a good signing, especially in comparison to some of the signings this team has made over the years. It's the one area that the Leon Rose regime has kind of like not nailed, especially with the Hart trade. Between the Hart trade and the original Derrick Rose trade, you look at it and you're like, okay, they've done more good than bad when it comes to trades. They've obviously done really well in the draft. And then free agency, obviously, we got Brunson, but free agency is the one area they've kind of lacked. And, put Hartenstein, obviously, he's not a Brunson level signing, but it's a good signing. Good signing for them. Thanks, Kev. JBRI. What's going on, JBRI? Feels good to win. Most important development for the Knicks is 5 straight games of the bench, winning their minutes without quickly. Huge for the confidence of guys like Obi, iHeart, etc. I love this comment. Great job by you. I know. I think we were talking about it in the Substack chat. Someone else made a great point that like Quickly's like really good starting, but I don't feel like it's the same impact as when he's off the bench. And that's kind of what I concentrate on, which is like Quickly's impact is not as strong when he's not coming off the bench and when he's starting. But what we don't pay nearly enough attention to, and what you do a great job raising here, is the fact that Quickly not being able to be with the rest of the bench unit, that hurts the bench unit, and like credit to them. And look, it's also a credit to Josh Hart, who has obviously come and played a big role there. But yeah, the bench maybe, I mean, these last 2 games, especially, and I guess you go back to the Kings game too, right? This feels like last season, right? Where it's like you're just waiting for the bench to come in. And like, I know for me, second half, the Knicks were holding their own there in the third quarter. They were doing good, but like I couldn't wait for the bench to come in, for sure. So yeah, and look, they're going to need everybody if they're going to win moving forward, even when Brunson comes back. Thanks, JBR. I appreciate that, man. Robert Cross with another one. First time, long time, John. Can we get a game ball for McBride? I really got to be honest with you. McBride is in the running for 3-star player of the weekend for me, which is just wild. And like, look, for anybody who doesn't know my process, because I don't really talk about it openly, but like, because I kind of make it up as I go along. But this I am kind of consistent with. I do kind of grade on a curve. So it is much more like be a star in your role. And if you are about as good as you could be in your role, I do have a tendency to put you ahead of like, well, what this guy did on the whole is more impressive, but like wasn't as big a star in his role. And then I got to kind of parse it out. But I don't know that Deuce McBride could have played much better than he did. Certainly today, and I would have to go back and really think about the Clipper game too. But like this weekend, and to do it in Brunson's absence and be the guy stepping in for Brunson, I think it carries even more meaning for this team right now because Brunson's so important to them. The rest of Robert's comment, I don't want him traded. I don't want him mentioned in trades. No mention on cap or no cap. I actually think Deuce is like, this may sound crazy to say, I think he's one of the safer Knicks in terms of guys that you could count on him being here next season because, and this is going to sound like a slight on him, but like, it's just a reality. I don't think Deuce carries like, I don't think anyone else around the league is going to look at Deuce and be like, oh, we're not doing the trade without that guy. Like, he's not that level of player. I don't think, like he's not, I just don't think he's that level of player. Whereas you could see, whether it's an RJ or a Quickly or a Grimes well, really those 3 guys. And, even to a lesser extent than Obi, although I think Obi, those are different question marks because of the whole Randall thing. But like, if it's for the right superstar, the sad reality is that nobody on the roster is safe outside of Jalen Brunson, and I don't think Deuce has anything to worry about. I think they like Deuce. I think they love Deuce. And I think they're really psyched to continue developing him, and and they should be. They should be. He's a good player. Thank you, Robert. Hajzu. Josh Hart, what a winning player. Are we already taking him for granted? Because I think I am. I just kind of glossed over him tonight. Like, oh yeah, Josh Hart, more winning basketball plays. Next, what else is new? Yeah, incredible. Whatever series we play, I just know Hart is going to make that one game-changing play. So happy he's on this team. I'll just read his stat line tonight. Dude played 32 minutes, excuse me. Second most minutes on the team after Barrett and Randall. 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 4 from deep. Excuse me. 2 of 4 from the field, 2 of 4 from deep. Only shot 4 3-pointers. 2 massive free throws to seal this baby. 8 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, 4 assists. Did have 3 turnovers. It was a plus 13. And like 8, let me stick on that for a second. Because like 8 rebounds, 4 assists is a stat line that for a lot of, like for Julius Randle, like that's the standard, right? 8 rebounds, 4 assists, or actually more like 10 rebounds, 4 assists. And that's because Julius Randle handles, and I'm not saying this to disparage Julius Randle. Like, I could name 25 other players in the league and use different stats where it's like they're going to get those stats because they handle the ball all the time. For Josh Hart to routinely look up and he has these assist numbers and obviously the rebounding numbers, like those particular counting stats for him are even more impressive because he's not a guy that they're running any plays for. He's not a guy that's like handling the ball a lot. Like, you want to talk about a guy that makes the absolute most out of every minute that he is on the floor is Josh Hart. The one thing he doesn't do is he doesn't shoot it a ton. And like, I don't know, has his hesitation struck you as a negative at all since he's been here? Maybe a little bit, but like tonight, like he has a feel for the moment. He knew they needed a basket, fired away, boom. Next time, fired away, boom. That dude, very happy he's a Knick. I'll just say that. Thanks, Hush. Keith. What's going on, Keith? Unnecessarily close, but we pulled it out, and that's all I care about. Such a Julius-type game. Amen to that. But more bad than good, so I'll take it. I think you meant more good than bad, so I'll take it. Love to see RJ get downhill. Like I said before, Hart is my savior. Let's go. And then props to KFS. Thank you, man. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was unnecessarily close, but here's what I was kind of saving this. It's 40 wins. It's 40 wins. We're not throwing any flowers yet. It's not 41, which is when you're guaranteed to be a 500 team. It's not 42, which is when you're guaranteed to be an over 500 team. It's not 46, which is when you're guaranteed to finish the season 10 games over 500. I think if I was to sign for a number right now, I think that's probably the worst number that I would sign for, 6-6, 46 and 36. But even that would be, again, finish the season 10 games over 500. Like, it's certainly not 50 wins, but like, just again, go back and look at the records over the last 20 some odd years, and a lot of win totals that certainly start with a number less than 4. So let's take a half a second and appreciate the fact that, yes, it was unnecessarily close. I get it. Completely agree. But 40 wins for this Knicks team. And I know before the season, I wasn't sure they would get 40. I was not a believer in this team to the extent that they've done what they've done. I believed in some things about this team. I did not believe in them to this extent. So, great job by them. Proved me wrong. Thank you, Keith. Abdoulaye Diallo, every time I'm out, they pull me back in. #we back. Yeah. I don't know that I was ever out. I know you're being facetious, but they because they've still done things well, and they've still played hard, and they've still shown, even in the three straight losses, with with the exception of that Hornets game, which was just like, again, they were emotionally, mentally, and probably physically sapped, but they still showed you over this little losing streak that they're still the team that we've come to love. And tonight they just pulled it out. So, and they needed to for all of us, as much as I'm sure for themselves. Thanks, Abdullah. Appreciate you, man. Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? It's great to hear from you, as always. Great win when they needed it the most. Anyone who picked the Knicks on the over for 39.5 wins, give them 3 stars. Enjoy the win, and please don't fall in a trap on Tuesday. Hashtag we back. Is Tuesday a trap game? I mean, the easy answer is yes. The Blazers at press time are 31-37. Not great. They do have a winning record at home. They're 17-15 at home. I know they are coming off what I did not watch any of this game, but my understanding is it was not pretty. They lost 127-110 earlier today to the Pelicans in a game that was not close. They were down by, oh my God, what were they down by? Jesus Christ. Portland at one point in this game was down 114-76 in the fourth quarter. So the final score of this one was not reflective of how poorly I think the Blazers played. And no Brandon Ingram in that game either for Portland or for the Pelicans, and they put that on the Blazers. Trey Murphy, Jesus Christ, Trey Murphy the third, 41 points on 20 shots. Nice draft pick there. But again, there was no Dame today. This team without Dame is just like, if Dame doesn't play, then obviously that's a game. Then it's a trap game. If Dame does play, I'm not willing to say that any game against a Blazer team with Damian Lillard on the court is a trap game. That's a game that's going to be a tough game. And if they don't have Brunson, which it looks like they won't, Knicks should still win. But yeah. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, man. As always. Dominic Manzi, what's going on, Dominic? Lock Deuce in a gym with Josh Hart. Why are we doing that? So they could just tire each other out? No, I get that. Like, similar players though, right? Like, Deuce got in there. Was it last night or was it tonight? I gotta check my notes. He got in there for an offensive rebound. I think it was last night actually. He had a big steal tonight. I know that. He had I have so many great notes for Deuce, but I think the offensive rebound I'm thinking of was yesterday. In any case, I think they're very similar players. Deuce is just a smaller version. He could probably get a better nose for the ball, but then again, I don't think anyone has a better nose for the ball than Josh Hart. And then he just needs to improve the jumper, but we know that. I don't know if Josh Hart's the guy I want teaching him a jump shot. Thanks, Dominic. Appreciate you, man. Hamdy with another one. Hashtag father of McBride. Hashtag I'm all heart MFer. That's good. That's good. Did he actually say that? I'm all heart, mother freaker. Thank you, Hamdy. Sam Garcia's dad. What's going on, Sam Garcia's dad? In Julius we trust. Hashtag 40 wins. Yeah, I'm not surprised. There's not a whole lot of praise for you. Listen, let me just say this about Julius. I appreciate you saying in Julius we trust. It'll give me an opportunity to not push back on something I said a few minutes ago about that. I didn't think Julius had a great game. I think the last 3 games and the fact that Julius is not getting a lot of love tonight, and again, I'm not saying he should, but this week basically has reminded you that fans are still going to be very skeptical when it comes to this player. And, quick to get very nervous and quick to perhaps not believe in what it seemed like we were believing for a long time. And look, a season like last season will do that to you, to say nothing of like the Atlanta series the year before and then the whole season before that and the whole thing. So I'm not saying it hasn't been earned, but I'm going to, be the change you want to see in the world, right? I'm going to try to uphold something I wrote or I said or both right around the All-Star break this year or earlier actually, which is that like Julius is our guy. Good, bad, everything in between. Julius is our guy. We roll with him. He has earned that. And, I hope they continue to try to mitigate the things that are not so great. I hope Julius continues to try to mitigate the things that are not so great. But, yeah. Thank you, Sam Garcia's dad, as always. Frank Miranda. What's up, Mac? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. RJ transformed from RJ Westbrick back to RJ Barrett tonight. Big win, and I am lighting candles to Santa Maria that Brunson's injury is not that serious. I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be back by the weekend. Transform from RJ Westbrook. Well, so I don't know about that because he was 1 of 8 from deep. Do I want to check RJ's current 3-point percentage? I don't think I do. I don't think I want to check that. So I'm not going to. But yeah, he does have to clean. RJ does need to hit threes at some point, more. And the one he hit tonight was huge, but he does need to hit threes at some point. Just because, if playoff defenses aren't going to guard him, it's not going to be great. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate you as always. Jessica, what's going on, Jessica? How are you? Josh Hart does so many things that help everyone else. I love him so much. Good RJ game. Great deuce minutes. Another exhibition of watching Julius battle his inner demons live in front of us. It's the best show in sports, baby. Here we go. Free of charge. Step right up. Half man, not half man, half. I was going to say half man, half amazing. Half man, half. It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Real life. Wild player. 40 wins. Let's go Knicks. Yeah. Thank you, Jessica. It is quite a show. Busy with another one. Busy, you're too kind, man. Number 9 gets played like Russell Westbrook. Defender goes under the screen. And without elite athleticism, he still gets into the paint at will. Hopefully this game will allow the haters to give him time and not run him out of town. I think I'm included in that group. I don't want to run him out of town. I still suspect that, this is going to be an interesting summer. But we'll see. I'm giving him more time to develop his offense has never been my issue, especially with, as we always talk about, the fact that his role has changed so much and what is asked of him has changed so much and adjusted and fluctuated up and down and left and right and everything in between and the whole thing. It's not easy for anybody, let alone a player who is still on his rookie contract. I just wish I saw a little bit more consistency with, and this is where my rant was 4 nights ago, with some of the little things. And, the effort stuff, the heady plays that don't always get made and stuff like that. So, but I agree with you. It is a skill for him to be able to do what he does with his deficits, to be able to have a game finishing like that. Kudos to him. Hat tip to him all the way. Thank you, Busy. Appreciate you, man. Pack Daddy 23. Greetings from the Palm Springs of Washington. I didn't know there was a Palm Springs of Washington, but I learned something new every day. Much needed dub. Looking forward to catching Tuesday's game in Portland. Thanks, KFS. Let's go Knicks. Awesome. So I am assuming that there is actually a town called Palm Springs in Washington, as opposed to you being in like I don't know, a coastal town in Washington that is like akin to like they call it the Palm Springs. I don't know. I'm not going to research this right now, but anyway, shout out to you for being a Knicks fan in the Pacific Northwest. I hope you get to see a win on Tuesday, and that's great. Agree, much needed W. Dom Cappuccini with another one. McBride earning a spot while Jalen Brunson's out. You got to love it. Welcome back to Earth, Julius, you so-and-so. Take care of business in Portland. Yeah, McBride earned his minutes. I think once Brunson comes back, I suspect that McBride will be out again. I think the bigger question is what will McBride be for them next year and moving forward? Is he a guy who are they going to I think they kind of like him in the role that he's in right now, which is to say kind of the first reserve guard after he's like the first one outside of the rotation. I think they like that, and I think that role serves him well, because he brings the energy. Obviously, he messes up the game on defense for the opposing team. So, yeah. I mean, that's what I would guess. But he certainly he nails down that spot and then some, for sure. Thank you, Dom. Appreciate you as always. You're always incredibly generous on here. Oh wait, here we go. Yakima. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yakima is the Palm Springs of Washington. If I pronounced that incorrectly, I apologize. I would like to go to Yakima. I don't know anything about Yakima. Sounds like a lovely place. I've never been to Washington State. Always wanted to go. Never been to Oregon either. Always wanted to go there too. Keith, again, thank you, Keith. Also, if Deuce is going to be any type of threat from three, he could be on my team any day of the week. It's that simple. Kudos to him. We needed it. If he was a knockdown 40+% shooter from outside, which again is not easy when you're a guy who's not playing a ton of minutes and not getting a ton of looks. But if he was that, I think he'd be a rotation player on certainly most teams. But you love when he comes in now, especially. I know I was happy when he came in tonight. I know you were too, Keith. Good thought there. I do want to check his 3-point percentage. So Deuce tonight went, he was a +15, we should say. He was 2 of 4 from deep. And on the season, let's see, I'm gonna make myself look very silly here. I'm gonna guess that Deuce is hitting 33, 34% from three on the season. Let's see here. 28.2% from three on the season. So that number will go up, I think, after tonight. I don't think these stats updated yet. So let's put him at a clean 29% from three on the year. He's got a little ways to go to get to 40%. But if he gets there, completely agree with you. Thanks, Keith. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? How are you? Ever since that stretch without Mitch, it's been a series of varying tests. This Brunson-less run is going to prove valuable come playoffs. Not pretty, but they're working through it in an important way. I mean, if somebody would have told you that, so again, let's just kind of take stock here. So no Brunson for Lakers, Clippers, half of the Kings game. So 2.5. No Brunson for Charlotte, no Brunson for Boston. So that's 4.5 games without Jalen Brunson. They've gone 2-3 in those games. And they only had their full complement of players, like their full starting lineup, for the Miami game, the Brooklyn game, the Boston game, the previous one. And then New Orleans and Washington, obviously they went 5-0 in those games. And then you go back to the Atlanta game before the break. Mitch was out for that game, as he was for all of the games going back to the Washington game. Like, if somebody would have told you coming off that second Toronto game that they lost, the fourth loss in a row on Sunday, January 22nd, that over the next, whatever it's been, 7 weeks or so, that they were going to be without Mitch for another, whatever it was, 10, 12 games. And then you're going to be without Brunson for essentially a handful of games. And you would have been like, okay, guess their record. None of us, not a one of us, would have guessed that their record would be what it is. And that is a testament to this team's toughness and their grit and their ability to never give up and never die. Thanks, Anthony. Good stuff there. I appreciate you brought that up. Andrew Claudio. It should be interesting. Let's go. This is for the Knicks win, the co-victory in the Oscars pool, and for taking RJ to score 30 points at plus 600 in betting and sweating. You took my advice from this past week when I had him at plus 700 to score 30 against, what was it? Did I do it against the Kings? I think I did it for against the Kings. Yeah. No. Against the Hornets. That's what I did. I did it against the Hornets, and he crapped the bed in the fourth quarter. So good job by you. And congratulations for your co-victory in the Oscars pool. With me, we share our victory. And shout out to all the losers, your fiance, my wife, and the Ozorowskis. Sucks to be them. But good job, us. Rob DeLusma, JM, and our man Andrew, I will talk mad amounts of smack out here in Los Angeles in KFS's honor. LOL. Rob, you better represent, man. You got to represent KFS. You got to represent blue and orange. Hope all the Lakers fans. I was gonna say I hope they're all miserable tonight, but like they're not gonna be miserable because they're all fair weather fans. So they're gonna go out and they're gonna be like, "Oh wait, I live in LA. Life is great. I don't care if the Lakers lost." Which, I mean, shout out to smart life choices. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you, man. Isaac Dueck, Harlow plus Wally equals Han. Harlow plus Wally equals Han. I don't know about that equation. I am a math teacher. I don't know about that equation, but sure. Okay. Appreciate you and contribution. Thanks, Isaac. Dan Hidalgo, what's going on, Dan? Not taking away from Jalen Brunson. Oh, I don't know if I like where this is going already. But this season made me realize the importance of multiple stars, not only from a talent standpoint, but to prevent the defense from keying in on one guy. We need Brunson, Julius, and RJ. Oh, okay. I was worried. I didn't know where that comment was going at first. So yes, you do need multiple stars. Oh, sorry. Before I finish this comment, I forgot the most important loser, the biggest loser in life and in the Oscars pool. Shout out to Yash. Okay, back to this comment. I do think that there are certain stars that a defense can't take away. How many of those stars are there in the league? I don't know. Are there 10? Are there 8? Are there 7? Are there 12? I'm not going to sit here and do the list right now, but the thing is, when you take those stars away, if you've built your team wisely, by taking them away, you're going to get great looks for everybody around you. And so, like, the thing with taking Brunson away is now that so you're taking Brunson out of the equation. Now you have Randall, and now you have RJ, and you have Quickly, and you have all the way down the line. Like, none of those guys rise to the level, I think, of like, okay, well, Brunson's gone, but don't worry, we still have these guys, and we're still going to either get a great look for that player or great looks for everybody else. One, because I don't think any of those players have that same gravity, with all due respect to Julius Randle. But also, like, I don't know, the Knicks aren't built that way. Like, the Knicks don't have a team with great shooting where you're just going to kick it out and, like, more often than not, you're just, you're going to get a team that's going to nail 42 or 43% of their open looks in any given game. Like, a lot of times you're not going to get that. So for all those reasons, I think, like, yes, they do need all of those guys. I will not go so far, though, as to say, despite the fact they had a great game tonight, I don't think it's necessarily Brunson, Julius, and RJ. I think they need Brunson, Julius, and one more guy to really pick up the slack in a significant way. I don't think it necessarily needs to be RJ when those other two guys are in and going well. Thanks, Dan. El Coreano 11. What's going on? I always struggle with that name when I see it. Of the players that the Knicks passed on in the draft, which player would be the best fit on the current team? Oh, my God. What a question is this? Shea, Donovan, or McCall? I choose McCall. Whew, goodness gracious. Oh, man. This is breaking my... I understand why you're choosing McCall, and I actually might choose Mikal Bridges too. I think that's a little bit too disrespectful to both Donovan Mitchell and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And there is a big part of me that I would probably choose Shai. And Shai, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it might even be very disrespectful for me to have even thought hard about it. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is gonna make All NBA this year. He was on track to get, like, serious MVP consideration before the Thunder kind of fell out of it. And to be clear, Donovan Mitchell would probably be my bet to finish 5th place in MVP right now after the big top 4. I had questions about the fit in terms of elevating the team to championship contention status with Donovan and Jalen and Julius this summer. I still have some of those questions now. I have questions about a Jalen Donovan backcourt in terms of, like, both of those guys do really want the ball, I think, or operate best with the ball. And I know Jalen could do off ball. He's a really good player. Man, Donovan just likes to have the ball a lot. And he's freaking great with it, by the way. This is just such... I love this question. I think my answer is going to be Shai. I could talk about this reason and talk around it for another 20 minutes. I'm going to go with Shai. I understand why you chose McCall. I think I got to go with Shai because I think that just elevates the ceiling of your team. SGA is he's obviously a very good defender. And offensively, the guy just, like, talk about a guy who fits what the Knicks do. Drive, get fouled. That's wash, rinse, repeat. Drive, get fouled. Make a lot of baskets at the rim. And make the appropriate pass when it's there to be made. I mean, and that dude could play next to Brunson, I think. If SGA could play next to Giddey, SGA could play next to Brunson, I think. Good question. I enjoyed that. Thank you. Making me reach into my brain. I don't know if my answer's right, but Haitian Ferg, what's going on, Haitian? Great to see you as always. Very proud of this bounce back team effort. Character win. JR, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett made me feel happy, and the bench held it down today. I Heart, Obi, Hart, and Deuce, all solid. I think you could, like, up and down the roster, there's only one guy who had a bad game today, and that was Mitch. Mitch is the only guy who had a bad game today. And I think And it's weird because he's been so good and so consistent all season long. He came back from injury. He was so consistent coming off the injury. And then just like the Kings game, not good. The Clipper game yesterday was certainly better. I mean, he grabbed 8 offensive rebounds against the Clippers, although I don't know that I loved how he played. And then today, just another step down, even worse than the Kings game. I don't know what was up with Mitch, but everybody else played great. So shout out everyone. Thanks, Asian. Appreciate you. Kevin Danishevsky with another one. 40 wins. Funny enough, except for one RJ possession, I didn't think the late game offensive process was that bad. One critique there is IQ should look to score more, in my opinion. I don't think it was as bad as some of the other late game offenses that they've run. I also think that is the world's lowest bar. And it looked better and slightly more competent than some of those other ones. But, like, again, think about how they scored at the end of the game. I understand you're focusing on the process, and like there was a shot that I think it might have been RJ actually that took it. Maybe that's the possession you're talking about, where it was like a little bit early in the clock, but their late game offense. I mean, here's how they generated their points late in the game. We'll just go through it very quickly. So they got the 2 free throws from Josh Hart, which was an intentional foul. That was with 5 seconds left. The previous basket that they made was with 2 minutes and 34 seconds left. That was the RJ 2-point shot where Josh Hart hit ahead. So that really was just like, that was essentially a fast break. Before that, it was a Julius Randle long 2, which was, again, big shot, but like he had 19-foot two-pointer. It's not exactly great offense. That was with 3:37 to go. And then before that, it was the RJ, what felt at the time, to me at least, like a lucky 3-pointer as the clock was running out to put him up by 10. That was your late game offense. I mean, and then, I mean, like, but I get what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying in comparison to some of the other stuff that they've done. Could be worse. Could always be worse, Kev. Could always be worse. Thank you. Ivan Omar, what's going on, Ivan Omar? My country is celebrating the success of one of our own winning the Oscar for Best Actress. Congratulations, Michelle Yeoh. Me and the Knicks fans in Malaysia have more to celebrate. It is a great day. Ivan, I thought I loved the performance. I did not love the movie. It did not resonate with me as it obviously did for a lot of people. I appreciated it. I enjoyed it. Certainly a worthy Best Picture winner. And just you love to see that for someone. And this really goes to a lot of the winners tonight. I mean, you look up and down from her co-star who won Best Supporting Actor to Jamie Lee Curtis to my God, Brendan Fraser. This was really the Oscars of like putting in the work, never giving up, sticking with it. People who maybe were never out of it, but like there were times where if you went like through each of the people who won the acting awards tonight, and you're like, oh yeah, that person's going to win an acting trophy, in 2023. People would have looked at you and been like, excuse me? So really, really cool, for all of them and for her. And great performance. I do want to give a shout out to Cate Blanchett in Tar, which was my personal favorite performance of the year by a hair over Michelle Yeoh. Just more my type of movie, which is probably why I like the performance a little bit more. But both of them, I mean, either of them, totally deserving winners. Thanks, Ivan. CJ Cervantes, looking at where we are today, what makes us a contender? A star center or a star guard? He gives examples of Embiid or Booker. My mind is not really in this space right now. I think they could be a contender with Embiid or Booker. How's that for an answer? Embiid's probably a cleaner fit or a cleaner one for me to see, just because I think he's just a better player than Booker. But Booker's great. I think they'd be a contender with Booker. Thanks, CJ. Andrew Palladino, what's going on, Andrew? In the first half, I just kept yelling at my TV for RJ to attack the rim more and stop shooting threes. In the second half, he started doing just that and hit a big three after getting his confidence back. He was the key down the stretch. Andrew, you know what I think the key to this game was? I think you were the key to this game because you yelled at your TV enough that the basketball gods heard you and they incepted RJ Barrett's brain. And they made him start attacking the basket and made him start attacking the basket effectively, which was the key. You made those shots. Very important. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew with another one for GMAC, if he's still up. I think he's definitely up. I don't know if he's still watching. Have you talked yourself into A-Rod to the Jets like I've done recently? So I don't even have to wait for Andrew to text on this one. I know the answer. He has absolutely talked himself into Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. I think he's drinking the Kool-Aid. He's happy if it happens. But the Jets will find a way to Jets it up, and Andrew will be right back on the ledge, as every good Jet fan is. Thanks, Andrew. Jesse M. Josh, he can't shoot Hart up to 36.2% from three on the season, which means he must be at about 65% still for the Knicks. That dude was never a 31% three-point shooter. I mean, he just wasn't. He's a better shooter than that. I don't know how that number got so low in Portland. It's a shame that it did, but lucky for us because if that dude was shooting 36.2% from three all year long, I wonder if a contender would have made a bigger play for him. I don't know that they necessarily would have beaten, so the nice thing for the Blazers with that pick is the Blazers looked at that pick and they're like, all right, we're probably going to get like the 16th or 17th pick in the draft, which unless a contender was offering like multiple firsts, that maybe they probably wasn't going to, even if he was shooting better from three, I don't know if that offer would have been there, but I don't know. It's a tough one, but I'm happy he's doing it here. Thanks, Jesse. Will Oliver, what's going on, Will? Knicks win. Brendan Fraser wins. Happy Sunday, everyone. Love the Brendan Fraser love. He has had one of the more fascinating careers in American film over the last 30 years, starting with, I don't know if it started with Encino Man, but that's where he was in, my God, what was the movie where he played a student? I forget, one of those early 90s movies. But Encino Man for me is when he popped onto the scene. And he's had quite a career. I would recommend, I know Andrew will yell at me for recommending a different podcast on this show, but I thought The Big Picture did a very good career retrospective on Brendan Fraser, in which a gentleman who writes for, I think he writes for GQ, or Esquire, one of those magazines, who had profiled Fraser a few times, came on the episode. And if you're interested in Brendan Fraser, I would just strongly recommend that listening to that podcast. They kind of go through all his films and they do a top 10, and it's a nice look back. And now Andrew texts me official statement regarding Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. Very easy to talk yourself into anyone after 3 seasons of Zach Wilson. I thought it was 2 seasons of Zach Wilson. Has it been 2 or 3 already? My goodness. That's unfortunate. RJ team, what's going on? I hope to get the crow out. Oh, wait, where's the crow? Quick thoughts. What do we do with the Dallas pick? Keep it. Question mark. So the Dallas pick's getting pretty interesting, right? Kyrie has been missing games, and Luka is out right now. The Mavs lost today to the Grizzlies. I didn't even realize that. I'm just going to be honest. Oh, wait, no, I'm looking at they lost yesterday to the Grizzlies. Excuse me. Can't keep my days straight. It's what happens when you get old. So the Mavs, as of right now, are in 8th place in the West. They're 34-34. They're one game ahead of, this is fucking wild. Sorry to curse. I don't think I've cursed yet on this pod today. They're one game ahead of not one, not two, not three, but 4 teams in a 4-way tie for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. The Jazz, the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Pels. F you, Lakers. We pushed you out of the ninth spot by yourself. And they're also tied with Minnesota. And they're a game back of Golden State, and they're a game and a half back of the Clippers. So, like, I'm going through this because I do think where the pick ends up kind of influences what they do with it to a certain extent. Because you could tell me right now that the that the Mavs, you could tell me even with the Doncic injury and even with the Kyrie injury situation, you could tell me they finished 5th or 6th, and we're looking at the 19th pick. You could tell me they finish 9th, win one play-in game, maybe lose another, and we're looking at the 13th pick in the draft. And not that like the 13th and the 19th picks in the draft would have like drastically different value, but I do think the valuation is different enough to the point where, I guess here's long story short. My gut feeling says the Knicks will try to trade this pick, and they will try to use it in a trade, in a big trade that they want to. I mean, in a perfect world, I think the Knicks make a star trade this summer. I think that's what they'd love to do. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but I think that's what they'd like to do. And I think if the pick is that much higher, if the pick is like in the lottery, maybe it holds enough additional value where some team out there, has a guy that they really like or whatever. If the pick is more like 18, 19, 20, I'm not saying it doesn't have value. Obviously, it has value, but like, I could see them doing something more like what they did a few years ago with the trade that shall not be named, i.e. the trade for the Hornets pick that turned into Cam Reddish. I could see them doing something like that and just trying to kick the tire down the road again if it was like a late-ish first. An earlier first, I don't know. I just like, they're trying to. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but I think as of right now, if you ask the Knicks front office, all right, what are the goals for next season? They're going to be like, oh, we're going to try to figure out a way to be a championship contender. Whether they could get that, who the hell knows, to that status, who the hell knows? But like, that's typically not a team who's going to roster a high first round pick and actually like, make the best use of that player, such that it's not like a car that loses X percent of its value the second you turn it off the lot, which is, again, why I think they traded one of those first rounders 2 years ago in the draft that they drafted Quentin Grimes and Deuce McBride. And then who knows? Maybe there's someone they fall in love with, or they try to trade up for someone that they fall in love with. I don't know. It's so early. I don't know, but my guess would be that they try to trade it, and everything I said a minute ago is kind of where their thinking is. Thanks, RJ team. Jesse M, counting down the days till the Mavs pick ends up in the lotto. I love it. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. That'd be great. Can only hurt or can only help. And on that note, is that it? All right. Hey, listen. It's freaking 1 a.m. on a Monday morning. APJP, I'll do my usual, invite you if you want to come up and say hi. Feel free. I'll filibuster for 30 seconds to give you a chance if you want to do that. But in the meantime, I will say thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight. Don't forget to like this video. And if you have already, if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Knicks Film School, both the YouTube channel, and if you're somehow listening to this on podcast feed on Monday and you have not subscribed to the podcast, like the KFS podcast feed, you subscribe to that too. Do all the things. They help us out. And we will see you with all brand new stuff. Me and Jeremy and I are recording later today on Monday. So that episode will drop before you know it, and then we'll have a Portland pregame and then a Portland postgame and all the things. And then we get to have a little bit of a breather. 3 days no basketball, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of looking forward to, as I'm sure the Knicks are looking forward to as well. All right. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.